Hello, and welcome to the Knowles Development Podcast. Brad Knowles here, and we are so excited because today we have another special guest in Cheiri Lowry. Hello, Cheiri.
Hey, Brad, how are you? It's great to see you.
Great to see you. And Cheiri and I have had my blessing. I don't know if she'd frame it the same way, but been really blessed to work with Cheiri for, 5-6 years now, at least, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been great, and she's had the difficult job of trying to coach me for much of that time, and but tell our listeners just real quick, Cheiri, who are you? What do you do?
Well, who I am is about causing people to be unstoppable. I'm into it and passionate about it, and I like to open people's any kind of barriers that they have, so that they can create anything they want. So I think if I were going to say one word, it's unstoppable.
Unstoppable. I love it. I love it. And I feel it really ties into our conversation today because we're talking about why results matter. And when it comes to being unstoppable, I would argue that along the path to unstoppable really are always going to be these result benchmarks, right? These measurable moments of success and achievement. So talk to me about, kind of results that you've seen with the people that you've worked with or in your own career that have really built momentum, built credibility for people in a leadership way.
Well, to me, the people who have the greatest results and develop their leadership are those that have created a high performance team. And so they have high performance. So they have a mission, they have a vision, they have an accountability structure. The team plays with it. They know their strengths, and everybody's got to win. So you're really developing not only the leader, but the people within the team. So I'm always excited when I get a chance to work with some of those.
Nice. Let's dive right into that accountability piece.
Yes.
Because I find in most of the things that I've been involved with, results don't happen without accountability.
No.
So if we're going to have a results conversation, there's a big piece of this that really is an accountability conversation.
Yes. And that's people's favorite subject, right?
Absolutely.
I'll never forget, I've had some really high performers say to me, I hate accountability.
That's right.
So for accountability to work, it has to be tied to people's goals, what they want to create.
When you say that, I would argue maybe we agree on this, much larger than just a specific narrow business. Like when you say goals, you're talking macro.
Yes, I'm talking about personal, professional, financial.
Right.
It has to be related to that. They have to see the connection.
Yes.
I know this about you. I don't like to really work with people unless I understand the big picture. Mm-hmm. Because if they don't understand how it's all connected, you don't get that unstoppable performance.
Right. So, I completely agree. It's the leaving for vacation, but we haven't figured out where we're going. Right? Like
exactly. And why am I involved?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why am I holding the map if we don't even know where we're going?
Exactly.
So yeah. So I want to get a little granular with this accountability piece, because I find as a coach, I find that different people respond to different tools of accountability, that not one size fits all when it comes to accountability necessarily in terms of how people report metrics or how often, or I'd love to hear what you've seen on that.
Well, first of all, I think they have to help you design it. In other words, they have to own the accountability structure. If I own it as a coach or you as a leader, it doesn't work. They have to design it and own it. And I will say to you, I think you have to do it with frequency.
Yeah. So define frequency.
Well, it depends on, are we getting results? If they need daily, hourly support, then that's what you do.
Yeah.
If it's weekly, great.
Yep.
But it's whatever works for the team. If they're not focused on it, you can bet I'd be in their face more frequently.
Right. I hope everyone wrote this down, because as a coach, I'm often surprised how often people ask me to give them a tool for accountability. Like, don't you have a sheet you want me to fill in or something? Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I don't even know if that would work for you. So
Exactly.
we've got to figure out what's going to work for you. And then absolutely, I'm happy to hold you accountable to whatever that is. And I must have stolen that from you then, because that's exactly how I work with clients, is like, let's figure out together what that accountability looks like. And then we can also define what the frequency is, right?
Exactly. You hear in how you're positioning that, how you're transferring it to the person. It has
say
to
that
be
again.
You're in the way you're positioning that. It is, you have begun the transfer to the person, right? So I don't own it, they own it. And once they design it and have it work for them, they own it more. So,
right.
So
yeah, just going deeper and deeper and deeper in the ownership of those results.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Which I love, because I find that if you give people wiggle room, they're going to take it. Right.
Yes.
They are, whether they're 6 years old or 60 years old, like they're going to take, if they see wiggle room, they're going to take it. So the deeper you can go on the ownership piece, the more they're really going to own the results piece.
Exactly. That makes a huge difference, because if I own it, I'm going to say this again, how effective is it? It just isn't. And if you've authored something, you're more likely to do it.
Yeah. Right.
Is what it's interesting. People who are performers are the hardest to me to tie down. So, but you have to be clever and do it.
I've absolutely recognized that in myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And personally, it's why I love working with you, because, you have a great technique of, we'll have a conversation about something. Clearly, there needs to be some action around it. And I can just feel it coming. Like, you're going to ask for specific, like, by when, how are you going to execute it? How are you going to empower the team to do it? Like, and there's just zero wiggle room. And there's been so many moments with us where I've just resisted that conversation, because it's like, oh no, I'm going to commit to something. Damn it.
And I'm sitting over here just smiling away.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, I got him now. Yeah, absolutely. But, here's what I think is interesting, that as a leader, and that's our whole conversation here on the Knowles Development Podcast, is really on leadership development. As a leader, I would argue then you have to be willing to meet people where they are when it comes to accountability around results, right? And if they need daily accountability, you have to be willing to show up that way for them for a long time.
It's whatever gets them moving. It's whatever gets them moving.
Yeah.
And I think you want to teach people to ask for support.
Yes.
That it's okay, that they create the support structure that causes them to win.
Right.
But don't forget, it has to be in alignment with what they want to create. So that's so critical.
Yeah, it's got to be in alignment with what they want to create, and what they're looking to create needs to be in alignment with the business. So for me, that all goes back to the original conversations you're having with somebody before you even bring them on the team. It's why those conversations are not something to skip over.
You can't.
Right? Looking at long-term alignment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, can't skip it. So if a leader's struggling to get members of the team to get to results, what things can we do to help them?
You know what? If we weren't moving as a team, I would just pull everybody together and say, because people know the answer. I would just say, what do you think we need to look at? Because we're doing many of the right things, but we're not quite getting the results. Now notice I'm transferring again. Mm-hmm. What do you think we need to do?
Right.
They know.
Right.
It's been my experience. They know.
Yeah. If they don't know, I would argue then as a leader, it's because we haven't put the right people in the room.
Exactly. Or we haven't implemented some part of the structure that causes success, is what I think too.
or maybe we've created an environment. I've also seen this too, where we've created an environment where people don't really feel empowered to share an honest opinion,
Exactly. And it's taken me a while to learn how to make it that safe for people. It's interesting what you have to do to get it that safe. But usually if they're in a room together and and you say, let's just get real. What do you see? Right. What do you think we need to do?
Right.
It will come out.
Right. Yeah. If you tend to ask enough, and I find it doesn't take very long for people to learn that, oh, Brad's not gonna, take me out back and shoot me if I tell him something that he doesn't want to hear.
Exactly.
Like, he's actually, I'm going to be appreciative for it. I'm going to ask for it more. I'm going to, so it little wins in those conversations can actually build a lot of momentum in unlocking these conversations that lead to results.
You bring up a very important part or point to me, because to me, the leader needs to keep saying, okay, look, we move forward. This is how we succeeded here, because a lot of people are not used to doing that. That is like wind beneath people's wings when they hear that they've moved, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah,
it's huge, especially when you're moving people from entrepreneurial to purposeful. They need that reinforcement.
Right. I think that's so good. When people are adopting new systems, new tools, right? Especially around accountability, stuff like that. Sometimes the win early on, I find, with like a daily accountability, is just the fact that they're doing it.
Yes.
Like, that's win number one. You asked for it. And so I'm willing to be that partner for you. And now you're doing it. Even if the numbers that they're reporting are still way off, the fact that that we now have this regular accountability that's going to help them is great. So now it becomes this incremental progress conversation. All we got to do is beat yesterday, Cheiri. Like, let's just beat yesterday.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the first threshold, right? And it could be even less than that. They all work together as a team. They shared, they did whatever. You have to really look for that.
Yeah.
To make sure they understand that's all part of it.
Right. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So talk about the compounding effects of hitting results. What have you seen with some of the teams that you've worked with over time of what happens when you keep making sure that results matter, that the team is in alignment on it, and you really start stitching some success together? You keep having these moments. What are some outcomes that you've seen from that?
Okay, before I go there, I just want to say, I think you have to position the idea of mastery. In other words, we're going to keep going and improving as we go along. We're going to get into a mastery mode of how to hit this goal. We're going to keep tweaking here and there and stay in it. And I think as a leader, you have to demonstrate the curiosity, the enthusiasm to be in mastery. Like it's a wonderful discovery. Every little nuance that you create, and it's that enthusiasm, that celebration of continued success. I think there's a lot of opportunity around doing that with a team of people, learning to do it consistently. Because people, after they've done something for a while, unless you do that, they kind of start fading. So to me, it's how do I cause that level of enthusiasm? And I think it's that implanted in all of this that causes a compounding effect.
Right.
There's nothing more exciting than compounding, because when that happens, it's like magic.
Right.
You jump so far forward, you weren't expecting it, but you worked to get there.
Yeah. I want to unpack just for a moment one of the things you talked about there with mastery, because I think when it comes to mastery, and I know I have struggled with this in the past as a mindset, that mastery is an arrival thing. It's like, oh, I've reached mastery. And I would argue mastery is a mindset thing that I am constantly and forever going to be improving at this thing. I'm going to be forever in the role of a student and just looking to constantly just sharpen the saw, get better, get better, get better, get better.
Yeah, because, you know, let's take like coaching. How many hours have you coached?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today it feels like a lot. Yeah. No, I'm probably in the 10 to 15,000 land now. Yeah.
Exactly. And aren't there still aspects of that you want to master?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So to me, I think that's the kind of philosophy you have to plant with people.
Right.
So they realize there's so many ways that we can, just one small tweak can multiply your results just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's exciting to play with people at that level.
Well, you know, what I love about that too is you're an infinite game approach with that. I mean, there's just any result, no matter how small or large, is never going to be the end of the conversation. Right. It's just the next piece. It's just the next piece. So if you actuate your team to really be committed to that, then results are going to be a natural byproduct of it. But our focus is actually going to be much more around the mastery piece of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so everybody wins in that kind of environment. You keep that fresh perspective all the time.
Right.
That how do you say that? That
joie de vivre.
Uncontainable enthusiasm.
The joie de vivre, isn't it?
Yes,
right?
that.
Yes, the lust for life. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I always talk about it with new people on the team as new eyes. Yes. Right. One of the things I really value of a new member to any organization is the fact they're bringing brand new, unmolested eyes to our organization, and allowing them to understand that you really value that perspective. Yes. And what I'm hearing from you is, how do you create an environment where you keep that forever? That almost that enthusiasm to learn and improve that we see in somebody who's 7 years old or who's 10 years old. How do we embody that at slightly older ages?
Exactly.
Slightly older. Right.
And I think as a leader, you have to model that. Bingo. We know that it transmits really quickly when you model it. So
right. So that's where we're going to end, Cheiri. I love it. I want to leave that for all of our listeners is, if you really want results, the breadcrumbs lead back to a commitment to mastery.
Yes.
And if you want commitment to mastery on your team, the breadcrumbs lead back to your commitment as the leader to mastery.
Yes.
It's always looking in the mirror, isn't it? Like
consistently.
Yep. Every time. It's me and that guy I shave with every morning, right? That tend to be the heart of the problem or the heart of the opportunity.
Or the lady who puts lipstick on.
That's right. Yeah, the lady you put lipstick on with. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cheiri Lowry. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for listening to the Knowles Development Podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.